So Michael Porter Jr., forward for the Denver Nuggets, goes on the Pivot podcast, hosted by Ryan Clark, Fred Taylor, Channing Crowder, a platform for athletes to go ahead and talk about just athletic things. And I want to go into the actual video because I don't want to just, take them out of context. Maybe there was more to be said here. But on that platform, he went and for some way, shape, form, or fashion, they get to talking about the WNBA. Now, I will say this. I found out that Michael Porter Jr. is a Puma athlete. Michael Porter Jr. is a Puma athlete. And because he's a Puma athlete, that means he is on the same brand as Breonna Stewart. So maybe that's how they get on that. But let's just get into what Michael Porter Jr. had to say about the WNBA.
And they're very talented, but so is a famous ping pong player. They're just as talented as the best ping pong player is just as talented as the best basketball player. That doesn't mean they're going to get paid the same because
they play ping pong.
It's what the people want to watch. You know what I mean? So as much as I understand females wanting the same treatment as men basketball players, it's a different sport. People, they're not.
Now, there's a lot of things that are wrong in this sentiment. We could even just start with like the comparison of ping pong to the basketball. We know what it is. We know we know that it's a terrible critique. It's a whack concept because he would never say, he wouldn't say that about, the NBA. I was going to talk about the female thing. Don't really want to talk about the female thing. Let's just watch, because he's wrong in the female thing, but people are going to be crybabies in the comments about this. Let's watch the whole clip and then we'll go back and we'll dissect.
Packing out the arenas, obviously their TV deals. It's a different sport. People, they're not packing out the arenas. Obviously their TV deals aren't the same. So as much as I advocate for women and kind of the equality of the respect of their craft and all those things, I mean, you can't pay them the same thing, but I do feel like there should be a little way to make a little bit more money for them because they are very talented.
Correct. Yeah, I think the big thing, obviously, when you're thinking about negotiations, labor unions, and different things like that, I don't believe there's any woman that believes she should be paid as a man gets paid.
So before we continue down this path, I think that we have passed, and it's easy to do a video on lowering the rims, hyperbolic statements about the WNBA, women's basketball. It's easy to have conversations about the high school team and all that stuff like that. My thing in 2024 is we have got to stop having the easy conversations, the easy, the old, the tired. I started to look up the lower rims conversation. The lower rims conversation was starting to date back into 2012, 2010 territory before I stopped looking. And to think that we have been having the lower rims conversation for the past 10 plus years is stupid. It's crazy. It's lazy. And we've got to figure out ways to progress. We've got to figure out ways to have smarter conversations. Now, I would think that on the Pivot podcast, they would have smarter conversations. But that's my fault. That's my fault for being dumb, naive. Somebody quoted out or tweeted out that people like Michael Porter Jr. came up in a time when the NBA was it's a really, really entertainment-driven league. He's in the entertainment era of the league. And that can come with the sacrifice of legitimate basketballness. Legitimate basketball. And I understand that. So they're always looking at it from a scope of what's the most entertaining. And because he believes he's in the most entertaining league, naturally people will want to get it there. So we're going to go back and we're going to dissect this. I don't even want to go through it any further. Here we go.
And they're very talented, but so is a famous ping pong player.
Stupid conversation.
They're just as talented as the best ping pong player is just as talented as the best basketball player. That doesn't mean they're going to get paid the same because
they play ping pong.
It's what the people want to watch. You know what I mean? So as much as I understand females wanting the same treatment as men.
Treatment and the money shit is two different conversations. Nobody's asking for the same money, but it's okay.
Basketball players is,
and let me not be hyperbolic. There may have been one or two people, and I'm talking about people of notoriety, not the Twitter comments. Don't pull up some Twitter comment. This Twitter comment says, but we're talking about a smarter conversation.
it's a different sport. People, they're not packing out the arenas. Obviously, they're
This is a lie. This is the first lie. So I want to get into the lies of Michael Porter Jr. right here. They're not packing out arenas. I looked at WNBA Atlanta Dream attendance for the last year, and I know that the Dream pack out arenas. I know that they sell out games. Now, if he wanted to be more specific in what he was talking about, then maybe that would make more sense. Maybe he should have specified a little bit better. But there are tweets out there. Ooh, let me pull this tweet up. There are tweets out there like this that exist. 630 WNBA league leading 5th sellout in 7 games. And if you go back and look at the numbers, they do sell out the arenas. Now, if you want to have a smarter conversation and do a direct comparison to arena sizes, maybe that would be okay. Because I will be transparent, the arena size for the Gateway Arena in which the Atlanta Dream play is 3,209. That's the capacity for the arena. They sell out that arena. The Las Vegas Aces do the same thing, and their arena size is about like 10, 11, 12,000, but they pack out their arena. Now, if you compare that to a Staples Center, because I think that's what Michael Porter Jr. wants to do. If you compare that to Staples Center or Crypto Arena or whatever the case may be, no, I think Crypto Arena holds Crypto.com Arena has a capacity of 20,000. So their packing out is a different packing out. And let me be fully transparent, because packing out for Crypto Arena means a different thing depending on who plays there. When the Lakers play there, it might be the full 20,000. But when I don't know, when the Clippers play, the capacity probably drops down to 16,000. That's the allowed capacity. I'm looking at it right now. The ice hockey capacity is different. So, but these are smarter conversations. 20,000 is for concerts. 19,000 is for basketball. 18,000 is for hockey. That's the way that these things break down. So it's a conversation that has nuance, but Michael Porter Jr. is just factually wrong in saying that they don't pack out arenas. He's just factually wrong there.
TV deals aren't the same. So as much as I advocate for women and kind of the equality of the respect of their craft and all those things, I mean, you can't pay them the same thing, you know, but I do feel like there should be a little way to make a little bit more money for them.
All right, good. You can't pay them the same. Nobody's having that conversation. That's stupid. There has to be a way for them to make more money. Let's have that conversation. Because that's the conversation that people actually want to have. That's the smarter conversation, the conversation that people are advocating for. Let's have that conversation. Let's not have the simplified. And you'll go on Melanie King's channel. I think MTR has done it, or Night Talk has done it. All the red pill content creators, they'll try to keep it squarely. You can't pay them the same because of money. And when this video comes out, or this is in the news cycle or whatever, they'll do the same thing again for this video. Naturally, you can't pay them the same. Yo, go past that. Have a smarter conversation, dude.
Right, because they are very talented.
Correct. Yeah, I think the big thing, obviously, when you're thinking about negotiations, labor unions, and different things like that, I don't believe there's any woman that believes she should be paid as a man gets paid. It's more about the revenue share. It's more about the percentage. And I think those things play into it.
I want to pause here just to give RC a little bit of credit. Now, he does lose the room after that. Because I want y'all to know, when I say that people are having the conversation about this. This is Kelsey Plum, the president of the WNBA PA.
Not asking you to get paid. We are not asking you to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking you to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Got it. So that's a huge misconception.
That's a huge misconception.
Got it. Okay.
For sure. Yeah, because every video is like, oh, this person gets paid this person gets paid that, right?
So I want to be really clear about that. Like, I don't think I should get paid the same as LeBron.
Right.
But the percentage of revenue, like, for example, they sell my jersey in Mandalay Bay, I don't get a dime.
You don't get any money from jersey sales?
That's crazy.
In the NBA, they have percentages of revenue shared for the players, right? So jersey sales, obviously, their TV contracts. You see these every year, these contracts get bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah, massive.
But that's because their CBA it negotiates where if the owners are making certain types of money, they get that as well.
Got it.
In the WNBA, that's not the case. We are not asking you to get paid.
And so let me and this is an older interview, but these are the smarter these are the conversations of people that are actually involved and want to have the conversations. I know that people don't want to have the actual conversations, so it's going to be what it is. But just for those that don't know, this is the actual conversation. Now, we can have a conversation about how they negotiate, why they can't negotiate, who maintains leverage, who doesn't maintain leverage, what's their starting point, blah, 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 blah. But the smarter people in the conversation, the people that are more in depth, the people that want to be more involved and want to take it past the surface level, are saying they want more of the revenue shared. That's not just an NBA thing that people get more revenue shared. That people make money based off of jersey sales, right? There's more to that. There's more leagues that do that. So that's not just something unique to the NBA. I just want to put that out there.
And then the other side of it is treatment. Within their own organizations. Like they're never they don't.
Well, it's not as exciting.
It's not as exciting.
It's not as exciting.
And that's where Ryan Clark messed up, because he was on a good path. Channing Crowder is a clown. We'll get into him in a second, but Ryan Clark was on a good path, saying it's about treatment. The treatment that we're talking about is guarantees for injuries, leaves, maternity leaves, childcare, chartered flights, which people can pay for. They've paid teams that pay for charter flights. The New York Liberty had charter flights, but they came together and said, hey, because we all can't afford chartered flights, which came out to be don't want to pay for charter flights. But because we all can't afford chartered flights, then nobody should get chartered flights because that gives them the advantage. However, we can look at situations in the NBA with like Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, who started to roll out innovations for his own team. And it wasn't about coming together and saying, oh, well, we need to stop him, suppress him from doing those things. It was seen as a competitive advantage, and then other teams started to catch up. If y'all hear the stories about Mark Cuban copying a jet when he first got into the league, Mark Cuban buys a jet when he first makes his money. He buys a plane, right? And then when he buys the Mavericks, he's like, oh, man, I'm going to let this plane be a thing right here. And then what he did after that was, players need food and stuff like that. I'm going to start supplying food for not only our players, but I'm going to have them provide food for the opposing players. So when it comes time for free agency, they're gonna see us and be very interested in us. He just created a competitive advantage. Nobody in the NBA, it's ideologies. It really is ideologies and thought processes, to be honest with you. So then nobody ever suppressed that. Nobody ever suppressed that. But in the WNBA, even if only one person could afford it, you shouldn't suppress that. You suppress it because, it is what it is. But these are some of the treatments. These are some of the treatments that people are talking about. For Channing Crowder to respond to, they're looking for better treatments with, it's not entertaining. It's not as entertaining. Channing Crowder played for the Miami Dolphins from 2005 to 2010. One of these seasons, the Miami Dolphins went 1-10. They went 1-10. There's only one season in this in which they make the playoffs. They play one game, and I don't think that this playoff game is close if I remember. Channing Crowder played a very unentertaining brand of football. He was one of the more unentertaining people in the league on one of the more unentertaining teams in the league. I think it would be extremely tone deaf and irresponsible, though, if Channing Crowder had gripes about how he was being treated in the locker room. Ownership calling him N-words, they're not seeing good equipment. Their equipment has mold in it. Their equipment has this in it. Their equipment has that in it. Stuff is just not being treated right. Oh, they made us get addicted to Toradol. If Channing Crowder came out with his gripes about being treated on the Miami Dolphins, it would look so tone deaf if somebody said, you play an entertaining or unentertaining version of American football being on the Miami Dolphins. We don't care to hear about your treatment. We don't give a shit. That would be so stupid. That would be so stupid if Channing Crowder, yeah, man, they are treating us extremely bad. And somebody said, well, you play for the Miami Dolphins. You deserve to be treated bad. Doesn't that sound stupid, Channing Crowder? Don't you sound stupid? Entertainment is subjective. I'm not going to get into what's entertaining to you versus the others because that's just, it's subjective. I don't want to get into it. RC co-signing it also makes it look bad. He was on a good path. It makes it look bad. I don't want to get into what's entertaining and what's not entertaining. It's all subjective. There's things that people find entertaining that I don't find entertaining. There's things that I find entertaining that other people don't find entertaining. Entertaining is so subjective. There are bad ways that I think people look at what is entertaining and what's not, because we had the conversation with Mustard last night and Mustard said, well, you can look at viewership and call it entertaining. And that's how the dumb people have the conversation. They look at viewership on the surface level and talk about, oh, is this more entertaining than this? But when you look at viewership numbers, you put this arbitrary ass threshold there to say why it's entertaining and why it's not. And they never consider things like the NBA's viewership dropping consistently since 2010. Consistently trending downward. Now, there's been some uptick this last season with the in-season tournament. I want to wait for those numbers to come out for the full season to see if that was a blip on the radar, if numbers are still down. But they'll give grace for that. They'll say, oh, well, streaming is taking over. There's no way you can count that. You just want to look at raw viewership stats in any other situation, so why not look at raw viewership stats? And that doesn't make sense because there are other sports, the WNBA, whose viewership has increased significantly over time in that same time frame. Last year's WNBA finals have viewership up 126% as opposed to the year before that. But why isn't that? And I think last year's finals, if I'm not mistaken, had lower viewership than years before finals, and I think if you count the Bucks and Suns, some of these finals have lower viewership compared to other ones. So on one end, somebody's going up, and on the other end, somebody's going down, which is also interesting because the NBA doesn't have certain things to combat with. They don't have certain factors to combat with, unlike the WNBA, which would be bad television rights in summertime, to be honest with you. Summertime is a big factor. People be outside during the summertime. So I think if you look at viewership metrics, that's like a lightweight way to look at that conversation too. You're stupid if you do. You are stupid if you do. It's too easy. It's too easy because you subtract the context from the conversation. Let's finish this clip real quick. It's too easy.
Basketball.
Yeah, you're not.
They got to lower the rims. I would watch a girl coming down the lane. On another, I would watch that. They need to lower the rims.
They're actually, as a
I'm not going to address the lower the rims comment, but I just want to address Michael Porter Jr. co-signing on the entertainment factor. Michael Porter Jr., again, is an entertainment baby. He is from the era of the NBA where entertainment reigns true over good basketball, over fundamental basketball practice. It's ideologies. So I would say to Michael Porter Jr., of course you think your version of basketball is entertaining. You do think the dunk-ons, and you do think getting up 10, 15, 23s is entertaining. A lot of people would argue that you are a part of one of the least entertaining eras of basketball. Because you think a bunch of offensive stuff is entertaining. You want to subtract yourself from the fundamental stuff. RC was in a bunch of comments. And I still want to address who was I just talking about? I do want to address what's my man name? We're just talking about Michael Porter Jr. But okay. So I want to address Michael Porter Jr. Yeah, you arguably play a part of what a lot of people, especially your brethren, your NBA brethren, the alumni of the game would say that this is the less entertaining league, specifically because of the defense. Because the points per possession is almost at 1.2, 1.3. And if you don't know what that means every possession they are getting closer to 1.5. 1.5 is this magical number in my head. 1.5 signifies that you're almost guaranteed to score. And it's going up 0.1 point every single year. Or not 0.1 point every single year on average. That's what these numbers say. 0.01 or 0.1. One of those two. I think it's 0.01 because then it takes a long time to get to 10. But so they're saying that we're a part of an era that is a less entertaining version of basketball because of the lack of defense. Why 1.5 is significant is because of the introduction of threes and stuff like that. They're saying every time you're down there, we're at a more than 50-50 proposition. Now, will they score? Will they not score? We're getting to 75% chance that they'll score. We're getting to 80% chance that they'll score. We're going to get to 90% chance that they'll score. One day we'll get to a point where, cardiac, that 1.5 would be scoring on 75% of possession. That's exactly what that would be when you factor in twos and threes. We would get to a point where we would get to 2 points. It kept creeping like it's creeping, where it would be 2 points per possession. Meaning every time that an NBA player goes down the court, they are guaranteed to score. It's just about, are you getting a 2 or a 3? But there's definitely going to be a basket coming at the end of this. That does not sound entertaining to me. And that's why a lot of people, especially your alumni and your brother in the NBA, would say that you play in one of the least entertaining eras of basketball because of the offensive surgeons. That's why y'all lost viewership. Y'all have lost viewership because of stuff like that, because people don't want to see that type of basketball. Now, I'm not making that argument. I watch current day NBA. I still think it's there's levels to the entertainment, but the truth is the truth. You want to talk about the truth? The truth is the truth. Ryan Clark puts out a video. This was April 7th. As long as classless pieces of shit, fucking idiots, disrespect talented young women, will use our platform to share their stories. This is him championing back in April of 2023 women's basketball. This is Ryan Clark. Now, he quote tweets this because he is in the hot water. He quote tweeted that yesterday. For all of y'all with the you don't support women's sports or the pivot won't get behind black women in sports, where were y'all then? We're going to keep working, and I'm going to keep being me. I know what it is, and the real ones do too. He goes back and forth with young Alexis, says, literally all the pivot had to do was not say women's basketball isn't exciting because we was frying MPJ. Way to throw this in our face, though. Ryan Clark responds, I was sure to point out that Michael what the actual issue was, and I'm not throwing it in your face. I'm showing you how taking a clip of of one show with a guest doesn't tell the whole story. The pivot has supported athletes, female athletes. He did say that it wasn't entertaining, though. I do want to say he did say that it wasn't entertaining. I want to go to this clip right here. Or not this clip right here, this tweet right here. These are some of the examples of disparity No, I haven't reacted to Playboy Max's diss track. These are some of the examples of some of the disparities in the TV contracts and stuff like that. The WNBA averages more national broadcast viewers than NHL by more than 250,000. Despite that, ESPN will pay the WNBA $33 million in their final year for broadcast rights, while the NHL gets $625 million per year. When we talk about W's profit margins, start there. The average TV audience for NHL games on ESPN and Turner stands at 373,000. The WNBA on ABC averaged 627,000, making it the most viewed regular season on ABC in 11 years. That was last year. People point out I'm using cable versus ABC. Fair. Even if we look at WNBA broadcasts across every ESPN network and CBS television networks, they average 505 viewers, more than NHL across all networks. No matter how you slice it and dice it, there are some things in this. I think what Michael Porter Jr. said was dumb. I don't even necessarily want to address Michael Porter Jr. Some of the things he just said were dumb, though. Some of the things that he said were dumb. Dang, I wish somebody, it's in here somewhere. But I just know he'll get fried up. All I have to say with this is don't get caught up in people having stupid conversations. And that just goes for everything. That goes for all the conversations that exist on the internet. Don't get caught up in people having stupid conversations. Find the people who are having more nuanced conversations, more progressive conversations, who are doing better in having a conversation. Because a lot of what they said was stupid and just non-talking points. That's like how a 2-year-old has a conversation.